Zen, at peace, ready for war. You've got to be a little bit gone to it. You're not all there. You've got to be almost insane to your craft. Not a lot of people can understand that. That's why I don't know about nothing else. I do not pay attention to nothing else. There was games of football on yesterday. There was rugby. There was this. There was that. And like normal society is like, let's talk about this and let's engage in this. And I just don't. I can't do it. I just don't. I, People are talking to me, and in my head, I'm counting something. I'm counting up a number, or I'm knee deep in a sequence on the mat or on the feet. That's my life: sequences and numbers. Nothing else. I cannot pay attention to nothing else. You know, I heard a quote one time from Vincent van Gogh that really rang true. He said he has dedicated his life to his art, and he has lost his mind in the process. When I sat and I thought about that, it sounded very familiar. I have given every single thing, every ounce of my life to this craft, to perfecting my craft, and I continue to do so. And in the process, I have lost my mind, but in a good way, to regular society, to people who wake up at 9 a.m., who clock out at 5 p.m., they would look at me and say, I've lost my mind. But me, I have found it almost. Your lack of commitment is almost an insult to the people who believe in you. And that's what I'm trying to tell myself. I said, there's people who believe in me. So this is what I'm telling myself right now, today. There's people that believe in me. And me having this half commitment, it's not what the fuck I am. It's not what my people, it's not what the people who believe in me deserve. And I want to give back to the people who believe in me and give them that belief, and prove that belief correct. So that's where we're at now. And let's see where it goes.
What makes you such a good fighter?
I don't know. I'm just curious about it. I'm curious about it. It's never. I mean, it's in my head 24/7. There's nothing else I can think. I don't think about nothing else. If and that's it. I'm just curious, curiously fascinated with it, and I can't stop thinking about it. Everything I do in my life is related to this. I don't do nothing else if it's not got to do with fighting. You know what I mean? And that is why. You know what I mean? To be true, all you've got to do is show up.
Is that not unhealthy?
I don't know. Do I look unhealthy? Take a look at this physique. I'm in phenomenal shape in body and mind. To me, what's unhealthy is living an unhealthy life. To me, what's unhealthy is getting up and going through the same day every day of your life, 9 to 5 in an office or in a. Remember that's unhealthy. That beats your mind. I don't work. I love what I do, and that's why I'm doing what I love. You know what I mean? That's why it's become a career for me, because I love it. I love what I do. So I don't think it's unhealthy. I feel good in my mind. I mean, it's my life. I'm enjoying the fruits of my hard work. Nobody works harder than me inside the octagon, outside the octagon. I am a workhorse, so I'm going to enjoy the benefits of this life. I'm going to get myself a big mansion in Las Vegas. I'm going to get the soft top cars. I'm going to bring my whole team out. I'm going to spoil them and give them this life. Big steaks that size. We're eating every single night each. We're eating good. We're living good. It's human nature. Some people will sit and take positivity from that. They will look at that and take inspiration and inspire. It will inspire them to go and push for that. Others will shell up and critique it and be negative towards it. But one thing is for sure, those people will stay where they are. The people who take inspiration from it will rise up and also one day experience that life. So this is human nature. Some go one way, some go the other way. But I am enjoying my money, my hard-earned money that I have dedicated my life to. I was always getting pestered. What are you doing with your life? Are you doing this, doing that? They didn't know what it was. They didn't know if MMA was. They didn't know what none of this. They didn't know I could make a career out of it. As far as they were concerned, my man Dan talking about. As far as they were concerned, I was just getting into a cage and fighting with some other guy. They didn't know nothing about it. No one did really, but I knew. You know what I mean? I knew. But and then I ended up getting a trade just to keep them quiet. Because I used to have a lot of fights with me dad.
What trade did you get?
I ended up getting a trade as a plumber. Literally up in the back arse of nowhere up in Wicklow, the Wicklow Mountains. And funny enough, that site was one of the biggest sites in Europe. Kilternan. It was right at that skiing place. Huge. And now it's just abandoned. Now it's just deserted. So I used to go up there 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. I was on that M50. I used to have to walk to the N4. About half an hour from your house, wait for some Limerick guy that I didn't even know. He'd drive on the M4 and I had to flag him down nightmare. Yeah, 2 hours down on the M50, 2 hours back. Literally 14-hour days, and I was the first year, so I had to go and do everything. I had to go to the shop. I had to go and get this and get that. So I always had trouble with that, and I was like, this isn't for me. This is not for me.
How long did you last?
I lasted 18 months doing it, but it was tough, you know. It wasn't the life for me, you know what I mean. And then John said, because I was training with John as well at the time, and then John got in touch and says, I have a show, I'm running a show, I'd like to fight on it. And then that was it. I just packed it in, didn't show up. My dad used to come in and punch the head on me and like try and drag me out of bed. And I just wouldn't go. You know what I mean? I had an uproar for a good few years with him over, but and that was it. I just packed it in, quit, and then focused on training. And I knew what was going to happen. I knew I was going to get here. They didn't. There was a lot of stressful years. You know what I mean? A lot of tough times. But I proved them wrong. I proved myself right.
I cannot put one thing on it, John. I just love this life that I have created. I love this business. I enjoy work. I don't want to be anywhere else but here. So every day I'm enjoying myself. I wake up every day. I pinch myself. You want to see the room I'm sleeping in. You want to see the bed I'm sleeping in. You want to see the home that I am living in. There's an elevator in the home. So I'm on the third floor and I go out, click the button, and it goes from the third floor to the first floor. I open up the elevator and I go and eat some breakfast, and then we go stretch out in the sun, and we have a big pool, a jacuzzi. Look, I'm just enjoying the fruits of my hard work. Gratitude is one of the most strongest forms of power in attracting good things. You know, if you truly feel grateful for the things in your life, I always felt grateful for even the small things. I always used to celebrate the small things. Now I might be celebrating the bigger things, but I always celebrate every little good thing that would happen to me in my life, even before I had any kind of money or any of that. I would celebrate and I would feel grateful for it, and it just gave me more. And this is exactly the same thing that's happening right now. I still remain grateful, and more comes.
Somebody said to you, you'll have or you'll be as successful as you are now, what have you had said back then?
I believe you. That's what I would have said. Because I did believe.
Yes.
I believed in it. I had very few people who told me that. I had a small group of people that would tell me something like that. Other than that, it was just me telling myself.
Yep.
So if someone came up to me and told me that all the way back then, I'd say you're damn right.
I don't know how you do it. You seem immune to pressure. You got an entire nation on your shoulders, and you rise above it once again.
Yeah, I don't just knock them out. I picked around, John. Yeah, I said this. I'm sure you are probably all thinking in your head, this guy is talking absolute dribble. He's not going to do what he says he's going to do. You're probably all sitting there thinking that. But now here we are again. And I done what I said I was going to do. I feed off this. I love this stuff. This is what gives me energy. Saying I'm going to do something. Putting it out there for the world to see, and then going out and doing it. There's no better feeling in the world than that. And it's as easy as that. Say what you're going to do and go and do it. When you're chasing your dream and when you're working hard, chasing something you love and completely dedicated, it just happens. You can't really notice it. You know, even still to this day, I'm in an amazing position in my life, but I'm still working like I'm not. I'm still working like I'm not in this position.
Absolutely.
I'm still working like none of this is even. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just something I love to do, and I just keep pushing and keep working hard. I can't pinpoint an exact moment for you, but
yep.
If anything, I always felt like it was happening way back then, and now it is happening. But now I almost feel like it's not happening. You know what I mean? And I want to push to something else.
Absolutely.
I'm always striving to push forward. So.
You know, hard work pays. I put in a hell of a lot of work all throughout this build-up in the fight. I pumped out more content than anybody, more content than Fox, more content than ESPN, more content than BT Sport, more content than everybody on the Mag Live on my own channels. You know what I mean? I'm a workhorse from all angles, not just in the gym. I'm building this media empire now myself, and we pumped out the content. I'm very proud of how it went. The consistently daily movies I was releasing, you know, from like a month ago, every single day. You know what I mean? Nobody's doing that. So I'm very proud of it, and I'm very like the work pays, hard work pays, and I put in the work, and that's why I'm sitting at the top. I put it all on the line. I show up, I perform, and I get the results from that. So when I was a kid, I used to always visualize stadiums and like even when I was playing football, I'd kick the ball against the wall and I'd pretend I scored a goal and I'd run off and I'd be raising my hand and visualizing a arena full of fans. You know, that's still something I done as a kid out on my own. I like just running around kicking the ball.
What's going on, family? So I've been sitting here trying to figure out, man. Look, I promise you, everything's gonna be better real soon for us. I literally sat here and tried to get my camera. I got a new camera. Look, I'm using a new camera, and the new camera is having a hard time connecting to my computer. I don't know what's going on with this computer thing, y'all, but we gonna figure it out. We gonna figure it out. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna sit here and stress about it, man. I'm gonna continue to try to see if I can get connected to the to this computer, and if I can get this camera connected to this computer. And I just wanted y'all to see my outfit today, man. You know, I just wanted y'all to see my outfit today. I was excited about my little outfit today, man. I got dressed up all nice, you know, to come on camera today. But you know, it is what it is. All right. Welcome to the call, everybody. I want to say thank you all so very much for tapping in and tuning in to our podcast. This is our 295th episode. I believe that the biggest crypto rally is about to take place, and there's a lot of news. There's a lot of news. You know, there's a lot of news on the way right now when it comes to us being able to plug in. All right, give me 2 seconds, y'all. Give me 2 seconds. I might have the solution. Hey, just continue to share this out, and I might have a solution. Give me 2 seconds. I'm back. All right, I'm back. We're about to see right now. Moment of truth, man. Moment of truth. Let's see. Can we get this bad boy? Can we get this bad boy connected? Moment of truth. Let's check it out real quick. Let's see what we can do real quick. Let me see. Nope, still no connection. I'm sorry, I'm spending time trying to get this together, y'all. I'm just trying to get it. I want video, man. It only makes sense. I want to be able to look y'all in the eyes when we talk. Dang. Give me 2 seconds. Let me get this figured out. And by next week, we will be back live. We will be back live with some video footage. Yeah, there's no connection for me right now. So I'm going to stop worrying about it. And I want to go ahead and dive into today's call. There's a lot of things that have been taking place, and I know y'all have been waiting for us to get started. I appreciate everybody for being here today. And again, I apologize about not being able to, connect. Apologize about not being able to necessarily connect my camera just yet, but I do believe that a brighter day is on the way. All right. If y'all have any ideas of how we can, get our cameras back online and things like that, reach out to us. We love to work with you and bring your expertise and talents over here to our media team here at Coffee and Crypto Network. Okay. Thank you all so much. But without further ado, I want to go ahead and dive into today's information. Let me stop sharing this screen, and we're going to start sharing our next screen. 1 second. All right, cool. So jumping straight into the information. All right. Bo Hines. Okay. Y'all should know who Bo is. Okay. Bo Hines. Okay. He has changed his entire bio to Tether. Like what? Bo Hines has changed his entire bio to just Tether. Now, you're probably like, well, who is Bo Hines, right? Well, Bo Hines was sitting on the board with the Trump administration on the crypto council, the crypto team that they had there, the White House, right? The former White House Crypto Council executive director, Bo Hines. He now has went over to Tether as a strategic advisor for digital assets and U.S. strategy. Family, it is crazy. I watched the movie. What was the name of this movie? Man, it was good. What was the name of that movie? I watched the movie the other night, and I watched it with my mom. Mom, what was the name of that movie? Can you drop it? But I watched this movie with my mom, and it had, I can't remember, the 21 Bridges. Ooh, hey, 21 Bridges, man. The crypto space is equivalent to 21 bridges. Y'all probably like, Vincent, what the heck are you talking about, right? This ain't no police unit. This ain't no, man, listen, man. The government is the government. If they gonna cover something up, they gonna do everything they can. You understand, they gonna do anything they can. Leaders are gonna do whatever they can. These billionaires, these world leaders will do whatever they can to cover this thing up. Family, Tether is now being brought into the United States by Bo Hines. Okay, I guess when the price is big enough, I guess when they pay you enough, you'll go over and do it, right? I really thought Bo Hines, because one of the biggest things Bo Hines said was, we're going to make American, this is what he said, quote by quote, we're going to make American-based crypto companies great. We're going to make America cryptos great again. We're going to make them great. Well, Tether is not an American crypto. USDC is, RLUSD is. So I'm wondering, as a stable coin, what made him jump over to Tether to try to get them completely locked in, right? There's some very deep, what's the word? Look, it's just, listen, I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like Tom, my boy Tom right here, he said, very disappointed. Boo this man. Boo, right? In 21 Bridges, the movie, if you all saw it, right, it was a great movie, and it showed how, leaders in different, whether it's city, whether it's state, whether it's county, whether it's federal, whether it's world, they will go above and beyond the call of duty to save their ASSs. They will go above and beyond. They will do anything, and they will not stop until the job is done, right? That's what 21 Bridges taught me. And taking that lesson from a movie, right, which is a real world lesson. These things happen all the time in cities. We just don't hear about it, right? Same things happening here. There's something being covered up. And I told you all that Tether was a big crook, but now we're bringing on Bo Hines and his team to see how they can make it better. Family, I don't think there is any making it better. And I want y'all to listen to, I want you to listen to they on what Bitcoin did. I'm not sure, I don't want to disrespect nobody, so I'm just going to say they. Okay, let's get it.
When someone makes the argument that, based on current GAAP earnings, MicroStrategy has a PE of like 5 or something, and they say, well, our competitors have 20, we should also have 20. I generally would say, right along with you, that I don't view that as an accurate comparison, because you're comparing a highly cyclical expectation of GAAP earnings and losses, even if Bitcoin does continue to appreciate, but at a bumpy pace, versus a very smooth expectation. Right. Now, fraudulent, it is GAAP earnings. It is they're following a certain accounting standard. So I personally wouldn't use that term. But I generally would say that I wouldn't, certainly not how I would evaluate the company. I would instead look at other metrics that I use to evaluate the company.
Let me ask you a question on that then. Why is MicroStrategy doing that? Why is the company putting out slides like this? Why are they doing it?
Well, one to keep in mind, that was one slide out of over 100 slides, but why are they doing it? You'd have to ask them. Any company is trying to put their best foot forward and say, this is why you should own our company. All sorts of different companies do it. That's their approach. That's not the slide I agree with. I think they had many good slides in their deck. That's maybe one of a couple slides I certainly wouldn't make the argument for.
Okay, fair
You'd have to
enough.
ask them.
I think it will. So let me just say this. There are no Ponzi schemes that fail. Sorry, that don't fail. Ponzi schemes fail, and that's when they become known as Ponzi schemes. Bernie Madoff was never a Ponzi scheme until he failed. And so it's possible that Bitcoin rallies forever. It's possible that there's never a down case and they continue to create recurring earnings. And in that case, MicroStrategy will never be declared a Ponzi scheme.
Well, there certainly will be down periods in Bitcoin. I think even Bitcoin bulls, any rational one would say
my point is that as long as and this is why the adjacent part is the key bit. Bitcoin Master will never be a Ponzi scheme as long as the ETF continues to appreciate.
Hey man, we live, man. Can y'all see me? Hey, drop some coffee if y'all can see me right now, man. Let me go ahead. Let me go ahead and spotlight it, man. Listen, we live, direct, and in full effect, and we finna get to that check, baby. Let's go. Drop them coffees. Hey, I gotta run this back, man. I was trying to set up my camera. I ain't even really get to listen to what them and they had to say. I didn't get to listen to what them and they had to say. Okay, so give me 1 second, because I want to run it back.
When someone makes the argument that based on current GAAP earnings, MicroStrategy has a PE of like 5 or something, and they say, well, our competitors have 20, we should also have 20. I generally would say, right along with you, that I don't view that as an accurate comparison, because you're comparing a highly cyclical expectation of GAAP earnings and losses, even if Bitcoin does continue to appreciate, but at a bumpy pace, versus a very smooth expectation. Right. Now, fraudulent, I mean, it is GAAP earnings. It is they're following a certain accounting standard. So I personally wouldn't use that term. But I generally would say that I wouldn't. That's certainly not how I would evaluate the company. I would instead look at other metrics that I use to evaluate the company.
Let me ask you a question on that then. Why is MicroStrategy doing that? Why is the company putting out slides like this? Why are they doing it?
Well, one to keep in mind, that was one slide out of over 100 slides. But why are they doing it? You'd have to ask them. I mean, any company is trying to put their best foot forward and say, this is why you should own our company. All sorts of different companies do it. That's their approach. That's not the slide I agree with. I think they had many good slides in their deck. That's maybe one of a couple slides I certainly wouldn't make the argument for.
Okay, fair enough. I think it will. So let me just say this. There are no Ponzi schemes that fail. Sorry, that don't fail. Ponzi schemes fail, and that's when they become known as Ponzi schemes. Bernie Madoff was never a Ponzi scheme until he failed. And so it's possible that Bitcoin rallies forever. It's possible that there's never a down case and they continue to create recurring earnings. And in that case, MicroStrategy will never be declared a Ponzi scheme.
Well, there certainly will be down periods in Bitcoin. I think even Bitcoin bulls, any rational one would say
my point is that as long as and this is why the adjacent part is the key bit. Bitcoin Master will never be a Ponzi scheme as long as the ETF continues to appreciate. The Bitcoin underlying asset continues to appreciate, whether it's bouncy or not, sort of irrelevant. It'll be a Ponzi scheme when they no longer have access to financial markets to compensate their preferred shareholders, their coupon shareholders, and they must sell Bitcoin to do that. That will take the MNAV to negative. That'll create a Ponzi-like environment when they can't get that next sucker to buy the preferred because there's no income. Or it will never be a Ponzi scheme if they find a way to actually turn this asset into an earning asset, which is why I keep coming back to that question. So I think it's very clear that in no Ponzi scheme history has anyone ever said, see, it's a Ponzi scheme. They suspect it might be a Ponzi scheme, but in the backward looking history, first it has to fail. And then let me tell you something. Fraud will be the least of Saylor's problems. That slide will live in infamy.
Wow. Fraud will be the least of Michael Saylor's problems. I don't know. I don't want to get too deep into it, but I told y'all my thoughts. You'll start to realize when you watch this clip, like Digital Asset Investor said, that Bitcoin maxis have no choice but to continue their war on XRP and other digital assets. The regulatory monopoly ending would have me terrified too, right? So MicroStrategy, is it a Ponzi scheme? When you really think about what it's propped up on, how they've taken investors' money, and they've been able to raise capital to continue to purchase Bitcoin at, ridiculously high prices. I think that, it's ridiculously high today, but it won't be ridiculously high in 10 years, right? We'll if MicroStrategy is still around, we'll say that Michael Saylor is darn near the Antichrist, or something crazy like that. You know what I mean? Because of how wealthy he'll be in 10 years with Bitcoin reaching maybe $1 million a coin. You know what I mean? So there's so many ways to actually look at this. We're going to continue to allow this to unfold and continue to pay attention. Now, I do want to go over to my bookmarks real quick. I didn't have time because I was working on I'm not gonna lie, I was working on everything for you all with this camera, which we got the camera up, you know what I mean? We got the camera up. Shout out to everybody who made it happen. Okay, but I want to go over here to Nick O'Neill's. I want to go over to Nick O'Neill's page. Nick O'Neill has been dropping. He has completely from his balcony, okay, and looks like Miami or someplace like that. This gentleman has completely dedicated the rest of the next couple of weeks and months and years to exposing Michael Saylor. And, that's cool. All right. So I'm about to allow y'all to look at what he has to say. And we're going to take a look and see exactly, what this guy has to say about Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy as he continues to unfold on his penthouse in Miami or whatever city he's in. It looks like Miami. The Michael Saylor debacleism. Pay attention.
Guys, I said I would not comment anymore about MicroStrategy, but then Michael Saylor comes out and tweets this. I don't know if you can read this, but let me just share what it is. Strategy today announced an update to its MSTR equity ATM guidance. Basically, what he ends up doing is he changed and flip-flopped on the terms that he stated only 2 weeks ago on his earnings call. Now, when the MNAV is below 2.5, MicroStrategy will tactically issue MSTR stock to pay interest on debt obligations, fund preferred equity dividends, and 3, when otherwise deemed advantageous to the company. 2 weeks ago, he said he wasn't going to do that. Now this? Before I continue, I just want to make it abundantly clear that I am not suicidal. Yet, despite what my lawyers advised me, I feel that it's necessary to at least speak out on this matter. I'm not going to allow big Bitcoin to keep me silent or try to silence me. This is outrageous. The biggest loser in all of these things, I want to be clear, is MicroStrategy shareholders. Whenever Michael Saylor wants to issue more shares to fund any sort of thing that he wants to do, shareholders get diluted. And the reality is not only, I said in multiple videos, he is a genius. I clarified that this is not a Ponzi scheme. Okay? It's not a Ponzi scheme. But it's not behavior that's advantageous to the shareholders themselves. So he's going to go and tweet this out on a Monday morning like everyone's going to be excited that this clarification is a positive thing. There is literally nothing positive about this whatsoever. This is an absolute disaster. And if you're a shareholder, I would honestly sell it in order to buy iBit instead. I'm personally devastated, if I'm being completely honest, because I've held MicroStrategy for a while now. But this behavior is unacceptable. And all of the people that came after me, I mean, I can't believe some of the things that you all said. Some of you even threatened me. Someone needs to speak up here. They're going to have to bring me down to the courthouse in handcuffs to make me stop, to shut me up.
My boy going crazy.
I'm not willing to stop. My lawyers told me not to make this video. I don't care anymore.
You feel me?
Look, I'm not willing to hide from the truth. That's the bottom line. This says it all. If you want to know what's going on, this is it. And all those shareholders that are continuing to hold, instead of transitioning to iBit, that MNAV premium is probably going to compress. I'll be back with more. I shouldn't have even made this video in the first place. I'm going to leave it up to God to see what happens next.
Crazy. Hey, the movie continues. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy, man. You know, so I just wanted to kind of show y'all, like, you know, when you really have that power, you know, a lot of us are going to come into wealth. A lot of us are going to create these companies of the future. And the same way that this guy did, and you're going to have your own thoughts and feelings. And those thoughts and feelings come with a cost, right? And the cost is not cheap, right? And sometimes it's not just about financial cost, it's a spiritual cost. I look at BitBoy Crypto, and it's not the same thing, but it's the same thing. You know, I look at a lot of these big influencers and people who, you know, have been CEOs of these large companies and NFT companies like this guy and stuff. And I don't know, it's I have my own platform that's growing, right? And I speak out on things, I speak about things, and you know, it also makes me a little nervous at times, you know, if I can be completely transparent, because you never know when you're going to come across something and you're going to be so passionate about it, passionate about sharing it with the world to the point where you just don't care anymore. All I say is let's keep Nick O'Neill, let's keep him in our prayers. You know what I mean? Like, he is trying to get to the bottom of some things that have been very disturbing for myself. I made the bold claim, and Zatrick still, I'm sure Zatrick and TJ has the exact time and day completely fixed, right? I'm sure he does, right? But I said that there's going to come a time where Michael Saylor is going to apologize to the XRP army. There's going to come a time. He's talked a lot about us. He said a lot about XRP and, you know, things like that. And I don't think, and again, here's another thought before I move on. I've said this before. Technology, software and technology is not bad, but there are bad actors and there are good actors, right? And unfortunately, sometimes the work that the bad actors do can overshine what good actors do, aka Sam Bankman-Fried. That Sam Bankman-Fried thing with FTX made a lot of people distrust crypto exchanges. I don't know. I'm gonna stop there and we're gonna move on. But I just wanted, you know, I just wanted you all to know that, you know, this rabbit hole goes extremely deep with Michael Saylor. And I'd encourage you all to go out and do your own research, okay? Next topic. Gemini partners with Ripple amid their IPO. Gemini's IPO filing reveals a $75 million credit deal with Ripple, right? Borrowable in $5 million chunks and expandable to $150 million, with some of it even being in RLUSD. Now, I want to take the time to just kind of talk about this a little bit, because there's some very interesting facts about how Gemini's partner with Ripple that most people will kind of skim over because they don't have they don't do the same level of research that we do here at Coffee and Crypto. We dive super deep. Okay. So on a super deep level of thinking about this and thinking it out, Ripple has applied for multiple banking transmitter licenses, and they've gotten approved in the United States and other countries around the world. Okay. But just here in the US, let's talk about that. They've also applied for a New York Fed OCC compliant banking charter license, okay, which puts them into a whole nother bracket that I'm sick of y'all tailcoin, all y'all tailcoin people, shut up, okay? we hold that too, okay? I hold that too, but not, I own way more XRP than that, okay? Tailcoin, okay, and we'll dive into that as well soon, but we all know who Ripple has on their on. It's not about, okay, everybody, a lot of these companies are going to go out, they're going to get these banking charter licenses, right? Tailcoin, Ripple, Coinbase, these are the companies that are pioneering it. But there's going to be plenty of these companies that's going to go out and get these licenses as well, okay? When they go out and get these licenses, okay, you know, Ripple is so valuable. You got to look at certain things with companies, because eventually there'll be quite a few companies that'll have these licenses. Okay. Let me get back to the point. Okay. They'll have these licenses. Now, the thing that I think about it is this: Ripple has way more institutional and leaders on their executive board, you know, and all of that stuff. They have a lot of backing. Ripple does. I can't say the same thing about Tailcoin. So I'm not saying that Tailcoin's not valuable. Definitely not. We're not saying that Tailcoin is not valuable. But what we are saying is, when you're looking at a business model, you have to look at what we call a moat, a competitive moat, right? Does the business have a moat? And Ripple's moat in this particular situation would be their executive team. They have Rosie Rios, who is the 43rd treasurer of the United States. Her money is, if you pull out a dollar bill all the way to a $100 bill, I probably can guarantee you right now that her name is on it. Matter of fact, hold on 1 second, y'all. Give me 1 second. I got 2 $5 bills in my pocket. Let's see. Okay. Her name ain't on that one. Let's see here. But look at that. The second one, Rosie Rios' name. Look at that right there. I'm gonna show y'all. Let me get up close and personal so y'all can see it. Okay, that right there, Rosie Rios. That's an R there. That's Rosie, Rosa. Okay, and then Rios, Rios. Okay. Told you I had $2. I had a 1 in 2 chance to get this right, and a 50-50 chance out of 2 $5 bills. 50-50 chance, all right? That Rosie Rios, I don't even like fiat cash. I just be throwing cash, all right? Just be throwing it, okay? I don't even like it no more, okay? So let's get back to this. Gemini's IPO filing revealing $75 million credit deal with Ripple. You better believe something, okay? Now let's before we dive in a little deeper, I kind of want to go to Gemini, okay? Kind of want to go to Gemini's at Twitter and see what they had to say. Okay, I want to see what they had to say over at Gemini, or if we can find. Here we go. This actually is the video. Oh, they got quite a few. So we're gonna take a look at this one right here, which is on CNBC, and let's see what they have to say over here.
Cryptocurrency exchange Gemini's space station filing for its IPO and joining a wave of digital asset firms seeking to tap into the public markets. The company, founded back in 2014 by billionaire twins Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss, it plans to list on the NASDAQ right here under the ticker symbol GEMI. Terms of that offering were not disclosed in a filing that was made public on Friday.
So cryptocurrency exchange Gemini now files to go public on the NASDAQ. Every crypto exchange is going to file to go public on the NASDAQ. Okay. Then every crypto chartered bank will file to go public on the NASDAQ. Ripple will go public on the NASDAQ. You better believe that. They're not too far behind Gemini. Pay attention.
Company supports more than 70 cryptocurrencies and operations in more than 60 countries. It also supports stablecoins and issues the Gemini dollar stablecoin. Now, in the 6 months ended June 30th, Gemini reported a net loss of about $280 million on total revenue of about $69 million. That compares with a net loss of $41 million on revenue of $74 million a year ago.
Because, are you jealous?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, they get screwed out of Facebook, and it's like that doesn't even.
The next thing will come along.
And they're still 6'5", and they look like that. Now they're both billionaires.
They were billionaires long before this.
I know. Well, that's even. You think that helps? It makes me feel better.
Ah, envy, envy, envy.
7 deadly sins.
The green-headed monster.
It is.
That's right.
Wow. So, as y'all can see, so my thoughts on this real quick. When it comes to Ripple and when it comes to their $75 million, well, we talked about something on our Sip and Learn last night with our Discord community, and we took a deep dive into the Ripple, into the XRP ledger, specifically the Zaman wallet. And on the Zaman wallet, there is a feature, if you have a Zaman wallet, there is a feature where you can do a personal escrow. So I asked ChatGPT, I was like, yo, ChatGPT, what is an escrow, right, for a bank? And the escrow is basically a special account that people can lock money up, and they can put basically a period of time that the money is released, or they can put certain terms where when this is done, this amount is released. When this is done, this amount is released. When this is done, right? So they can set certain parameters up. Well, in the banking world, there's no smart contracts used. It's just, regular contracts. As far as the XRP ledger goes, this is the only, from my knowledge, this is the only blockchain that allows you to set up your own trust lines, for you to set up your own escrow. Do you know how important that is as a business owner, right? To be able to all business owners should be listening right now. To be able to set up an escrow on the XRP ledger, and to be able to set up a smart contract obligations to say, hey, when A, B, C, and D is done, I can release this money to my business in the expansion of our business going into Hong Kong, right? Or let's say you're a family man and you have 2 or 3 kids, and you want to say, hey, you want to build your trust amongst this, right? And you want XRP to truly be in your trust. You shouldn't have to trust a lawyer with the XRP that is in your trust. The XRP ledger should serve as that for you. And that is what this particular thing is when it comes to that inside of the XRP ledger. So being able to set up this feature is extremely, extremely valuable, viable, and important. And imagine being able to leave your kids after they turn 18 and then 25. Remember, at 18, there's a college fund of XRP amount that's released to them, right? To take care of the college. Boom. When they're graduated from college, there's a graduation gift that's released from escrow from your XRP account for your kids. Boom. When they turn 25, there's a business development fund. There's a business development fund type of thing that's going on, right? There's so much opportunity, in this market. And I want you all to be able to take full advantage of it by plugging into the XRP ledger. We teach way more, right? We teach way more than just buying XRP. I believe that if you're only just buying XRP at this point, like, why? You know what I mean? Why are you only purchasing XRP? There's so many features for you to plug in and really plug yourself in. I believe that we have the opportunity to be our own bank. Since when have you been able to set up your own escrow features? So I need you to understand that with the escrow that Ripple has, this company Gemini is just the first of many that are going to see this type of funding and backing from Ripple. And the question is why? Well, let me tell you why. The reason why is because they have this banking license. This is extremely bullish, right? Here's another news feature that I wanted to show you all, okay? This is on Decent Wallet's page, okay? Doppler Finance excited to announce partnership with Decent Wallet. John, we need to get on this one, okay? It says, together, we're bringing XRP staking and rewards to the Decent Wallet, combining hardware security with institutional grade infrastructure, from storage, analysis, action, rewards, all in one wallet. So for those people that's been waiting to be able to stake their XRP, to get their XRP to start earning some level of yield for you, the Decent Wallet and Doppler Finance may actually be the ones that you want to actually plug into wholeheartedly, okay? So just wanted to let you all know that as well, okay? What else do we have? All right, this is a clip right here from XRP Las Vegas. It says, we are putting the entire banking industry directly on chain. Yes, on the it's all good. Yes, on the XRP ledger. All right, family. So with that being said, we're about to go ahead and play this quick video from XRP Las Vegas. And it's time, you know, because I'm gonna tell y'all right now, okay? I believe that and I made a bold statement last night on our Discord community call, right? I made a bold statement. I said, I believe that every other token out there, you should take profits on. I'm not taking profits on my XRP. I'm holding it for the rest of my life. I don't know. I just don't even care if it goes to zero. You know what I mean? Like, I believe that much in XRP. Like I don't believe in nothing. I don't believe in nothing else wholeheartedly. I believe in HBAR, you know, but XRP is just crazy. And the type of backing that they got, I believe that this is a once in a lifetime investment opportunity that we're catching at $3, y'all. Let's go.
Fast Bank. Tell us about Fast Bank.
So I made the decision of what would it be like if we could put the banking industry directly on chain. So you've heard some of the other tokenized asset talks today. So the question is, instead of having like a Circle or a Tether in between, what if US banks put dollars directly on chain, including the XRP ledger? So that would mean that the ledger of record isn't some like old 50-year-old bank core, it's actually the blockchain. And so to do that, had to buy a US bank. And you can imagine, even though I'm ex-Federal Reserve, having worked at Ripple, made some other investments in crypto, it was not an easy lift. But last year we were finally approved. Might have helped that I ran for Congress and was going to make a stink.
Right, and here in Nevada, right?
Here in Nevada, in the 2nd District. We purchased Fast Bank, OCC, nationally chartered Fed holding company, and we have one purpose, which is to put the US dollar on chain. And what that means is these are FDIC insured US dollars, complete with Reg E chargeback protections, means if you get robbed, you get your money back, running on chain. And in particular, under the new administration with open banking and fair access, those dollars can be held by every person all around the world. So that means essentially everybody in the world has a US dollar deposit account, FDIC insured. So I'd ask you a question. You've heard about the new 5% tax. If you're on this ledger and you're sending money from, you know, you're here under one visa and you're sending it back home to your mom, if that money never leaves being a dollar, never leaves the country, never even leaves the bank, is that a remittance? I don't think so. I think in this new world, if everything is on ledger, including the XRP ledger, and it's just moving on ledger, what does it mean anymore to move money from one country to another? It doesn't really happen. It just all stays on ledger. And it's the XRP ledger that made that possible all the way back in 2012. That's really why I joined Ripple to this day. And so buying a bank and putting US dollars on, we've also made an investment in the Bank of London, and I'm closing a bank deal in Europe soon. So that means dollars, pounds, and euros running 24/7 bank money on chain.
Right.
chain on the XRP ledger.
on the XRP ledger.
That is crazy work, y'all. So literally every single entire banking industry will be directly on chain on the XRP ledger. You you know, you can either wait around and let it happen, you know, which a lot of you all will do, I'm sure, until they get the actual banking charters and things finalized, or you will get into these assets before it actually happens. I wanted to leave this last thing with you all. It says, this is from the OCC, the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, says that community banks can partner with companies developing stable coins to foster innovation and offer new products. The OCC will review and update as necessary its regulatory and supervisory approach to ensure it supports innovations in banking and vitality of community banks. I want to take y'all over to the last thing, and then I got to get up out of here because we are about to start our cohort here at the Atlanta Blockchain Center. Told you all I'll be in here for a while, but oh wow, they've updated their website. Good God, let's go. I love it. I love to see this is the type of stuff I like to see. Like, I'm like a Shark Tank investor, you know, like I really like to see this stuff. Like I'm watching them get better and better. Like the app is getting better. The website's getting better. They're putting money into this company. This is the type of stuff you want to see when your money is being invested into these types of companies. So one thing I wanted to remind y'all of is Bank Social. They're not just focused on credit unions, but they also are a solution for community banks, right? They're a solution for credit unions and community banks. Okay, the OCC literally just said community banks play a crucial role in providing essential financial services. Stable coins are one way for these institutions to better serve their communities' payment needs. Family, if I go over to my Bank Social app right now, which I'm doing, okay, if I go over to my Bank Social app right now, if you got Bank Social app, make sure you go over to the app, and hopefully you're utilizing this app. But I want you all to know that the Bank Social app has at the bottom, they have this thing called RUSD, which is Rivia USD, which is their stable coin, right? So Rivia USD or RUSD is the stable coin for the Hedera ecosystem. It's one of them, right? So for them to have that stable coin on the Bank Social application, and then the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency turns around and talks about community banks, which is a major solution for Bank Social. And then I got one last thing, and I'm going to drop the mic after this, right? I got one last thing for y'all, and I'm going to drop the mic for y'all real quick. But this is the last thing. Let me scroll down here, and I want y'all to see this real quick, okay? Here y'all go. If you're in Houston, great team here, great meeting. Another Bank Social Finance getting financial institutions getting ready to go. First Service Credit Union. This is from John Wingate. John Wingate, who is the CEO of Bank Social. Okay. He says, congratulations. First Service Credit Union has $1.43 billion in assets under management. Congratulations to all of the Bank Social holders, Hedera Hashgraph holders. Hedera is my largest holding, but I believe Bank Social is going to be the one that's going to show out. I believe God has a solution for all of our lives, and I believe Bank Social is one of those solutions that we got in early that the world just is sleep on right now. You know what I mean? And you know, it's a lot of stuff happening. So who's to blame them for not paying attention? But the bank account will show very soon, guys. Thank you all so much for being on Coffee and Crypto. This is our number 295th episode. All right, we are 5 episodes away from our 300th episode, and we will take a little break at episode 299. You all won't see my face for a while. I'm going to go away for a little bit. at 299 episodes. And when I come back at 300, we will having a big event here in Atlanta, and we will be launching our coffee, and we will have, it's going to be an amazing time. So at 299 episodes, I just want to pre-warn you all that this podcast will go rogue. It will go away for a little bit, and we're going to go into planning phase with my team as we get everything ready and launched for the 300th episode of Coffee and Crypto podcast as we get ready to move into the future of finance. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for everybody to taste the crypto. I'm so excited for you guys to taste the crypto and the coffee. All right. And I love each and every single one of you all. I do have to get going now. Y'all have an amazing rest of your day. And I will see y'all at the top, not just from the top, because remember, the bottom is getting way too crowded. I'll see y'all on the next episode, number 296.